Hey guys, Sammy here. Today I'm going to help you, the general public, understand possibly the most confusing thing about Hollywood, the Academy Awards. Yeah. First of all, the reason I'm making this video is because the Oscar nominations just came out today, the day that I'm filming this, probably not the day that you're watching. I love the Oscars. I love them so much. Every year I go to some sort of Oscars party and we watch them all together, and it's my favorite time of the year. First, I'm going to explain to you guys how the Academy Awards work. This information all comes from a video that I saw by Brain Stuff, and now I am going to regurgitate that information to you in the delightful way that I do. I'm sure you guys have always wondered when you see the actor or filmmaker on stage and they are holding their trophy and they thank the Academy, who the heck is the Academy? Well, that is what I'm going to tell you right now. The Academy is made up of people who have received a super secret invitation to join the super secret Academy group, and then once that happens, then you're in the Academy and you get to vote on the Academy Awards. So that's what makes you the Academy. So very quickly and simply, when they thank the Academy on stage, that's who they're talking about. So now, here are some of the requirements that someone would have to meet in order for their film to be considered for the Oscars. First, it has to be at least 40 minutes in length. That excludes the Oscars that go to shorts and things like that. That's a totally separate category that I'm not going to talk about today. If a film is 40 minutes in length, it has to also have been seen by paying people in a theater in Los Angeles County. I'm not going to get into it. In order for a movie to be considered for the Oscars, they have to have released at some point within the previous calendar year. So for example, if a movie was released between January 1st and December 31st in 2017, it can be nominated for an Oscar in 2018. See how that works? Okay, and then after a movie meets the requirements for all that stuff, they also have to meet the requirements for a huge list of technical things. This is things like the type of sound that it was recorded in, the format that the screen is laid out in, lots of stuff like that. Then after that, after you have met all of these things, then you have the paperwork. The paperwork is long and extensive, and I'm sure that it's every filmmaker's favorite part of the Oscars. Among all the paperwork that they have to submit, they must also give an official screen credits list. And that is the list of names that you see at the end of the movie that you probably don't wait for, unless you're one of those people who wait and see if there's an Easter egg, even though there's not going to be, because they would never make a sequel to this in a million years. So there you have most of the requirements that you have to meet in order to be eligible for an Oscar. I'm sure there are a lot of movies that you guys loved, as did I, that did not get on the Oscar nominees list. Logan, Jumanji, Wonder Woman, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which is just a little odd. I'm not going to go super in depth into this, but one thing that I think should be considered when talking about why some movies weren't nominated for the Oscars is that in 2012, an article was released stating that 94% of the Academy was men, and the median age between people on the Academy is 62, and 86% of them aren't even under 50. Like I said, not gonna get into it, just wanted to put it out there. So I want to answer a pretty big question that some of you guys may have, because I know that I did, and that is, why are most of the nominations for Best Picture movies that I've never heard of? And if I have heard of them, I've definitely not seen them. And that's because most of the time, these movies who've been nominated for Best Picture pretty much tanked in the box office. I mean, eventually they made great money, but premiere weekend, they were definitely not in the top 10. In fact, 2 years ago when Spotlight won Best Picture, it was number 62 in the box office. And last year, La La Land, huge, was number 68. Like seriously, this year The Post is up for Oscars, but like Jumanji, which more than doubled the gross earnings of the aforementioned, isn't up for a single Oscar. There actually is a pretty good explanation for this. Back in the day, Things like Casablanca and Gone with the Wind, those things dominated the box office, and they were also nominated for Best Picture. Some of them even won. And it was like that for decades. The 80s is when the percentage of blockbuster movies who are nominated for Best Picture plummeted from 90 to 50, and it just went down and down and down until the 2010s, we have 0% of our blockbusters nominated for Best Picture. 0%. So, let me quickly tell you the reason why this is. The 70s, great decade for movies. You've got things like Jaws, Carrie, The Exorcist, Star Wars, Rocky, I mean, and then the 80s happened. After that, the 90s. And then we come to the year 2000. It's not much better. In fact, it's worse. And it's all because of one word. Franchises. The 80s hit, and what do? They start remaking them, adding on to them, and the reason why these movies are never going to be up for things like Best Picture is because the Academy is made up of filmmakers. They're not about to vote for someone who's making money off of another filmmaker's ideas and hard work. Now, I'm not saying that sequels and franchises are bad. I'm also not saying that one of them can't trickle its way down and find itself in Best Picture, but the odds of that happening are very slim. So to sum everything up, the reason why you haven't heard of a lot of the Best Picture nominations is because they're original. Because they have complicated and interesting storylines, because they have great actors, not famous actors, great actors, and great directors. So really, it's on us. We need to go out and see movies that challenge us and make us think harder. Although I gotta admit, watching Jack Black play a woman, probably the best thing I've seen in 2017. Alright, well that's the video, guys. I hope I could help you guys understand the Oscars a little bit more, even though they're still pretty confusing. Dwayne Johnson will be avenged! Also, let me know down in the comments what your guys' biggest snubs of 2017 are. I would be very interested to know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I should go. There's so many good movies.